Hello, and thank you for choosing WebWed Mobile. My name is Katrina Pointer, licensed professional counselor, national certified counselor, and owner of Love Therapy and Consulting here on behalf of WebWed Mobile. Premarital education has been a helpful tool for many couples in helping them to focus on different factors that may potentially affect their marriage. It is important that before going into any discussion with your partner, that you first know where you stand and the individual thoughts and beliefs that you are bringing into the marriage. During the next 30 minutes, we will discuss different topics that we believe will help you be successful in your marriage. We would choose that you do this on your own. However, if you would like to do this with a partner, please be sure to each individually complete the questionnaires provided. For this process, you're going to need a few things: a working computer, a writing utensil, and a printer. You must also take 2 hours after each section to complete the questionnaires provided in order to help you in thinking deeper about the topics discussed. So if you're ready to get started, we're ready to help. Congratulations on your wedding. This is WebWed Mobile. I'm Katrina Pointer, and we're excited for this process. So let's first talk about communication. As one might predict, communication is one of the most important keys to any successful relationship. One must be open and honest about their needs, wants, likes, and dislikes with not only their partner, but with themselves. When you think about communication, think about these top 5 things that we feel would be the best place for you to start with this topic. Question number 1, what is your communication style? It is important to understand the way that you communicate with others, whether it be in a relationship or with your coworkers or your friends. It's important to also understand that your nonverbal and verbal cues are 2 totally different things. Knowing that your nonverbal cues speak a lot louder than anything else is also important. For example, if you come to your partner and want to discuss something going on in your relationship, and your partner folds their arms, that speaks volumes more than anything else in the room. This brings me to my other point. You must be able to speak openly and honestly to your partner about anything, from how your day was to your deepest, darkest secret, as your partner should be your best friend. So again, what is your communication style? Question number 2, what type of communication do you need from your partner? It is important for your partner to know the type of communication you need from them, including when you need space versus when you need love. Often, we think our partners are mind readers. Understand that this is impossible. We must communicate with our partners about how we feel and how we think in order for them to learn us and be able to read our minds and know what we want. So again, what kind of communication do you need from your partner? Question number 3, what communication or relationship examples did you have as a child? Now this may be one of the most important part of this section. Understanding the negative and positive examples that we had growing up when it comes to relationship and communication is key. Now, if you grew up in a home where it was often for people to argue or express their feelings, those things have been embedded in you, and you will remember this in your future relationships. Also, think about your past relationships. We often learn to be more quieter or more aggressive in our future relationships based on the things that happened in the past. So again, what communication or relationship examples did you have as a child? Question number 4, how will you handle conflict in your marriage? Understand the way that you handle conflict in your relationship has the potential to cause a lot more conflict. Start by knowing how you like to handle conflict when it arises. Do you like to talk about things immediately, or do you shut down? Explain to your partner they should address issues with you immediately or give you time to cool down. Them knowing this can be key in resolving any additional conflict. Understand that your communication cannot become the focus of the conflict, but the conflict itself. So again, how will you handle conflict in your marriage? Question number 5, what things will be important for you to communicate about in your marriage? Think about the different things that you want your partner to communicate with you about, whether it be what time they're coming home from dinner to decisions that they made that affect the family. In doing this, you must first know what matters to you the most. Some things are not as important to others as they may be to you. Therefore, you must know what's important to your partner and yourself. So again, what things will be important for you to communicate about in your marriage? Now let's review those questions again. Remember to take 2 hours to answer these questions before moving on to the next section. Now that you've thought about communication, let's talk about compromise. Marriage is the land of compromise. Often in a marriage, you will find yourself compromising with your partner on various topics. This includes time, money, and family. In order to compromise effectively, you must first know your feelings on various topics, as well as how much you're willing to compromise on those things. When you think about compromise, think about these top 5 things that we feel is the best place for you to start with this topic. Question number 1. What is your ideal amount of time to spend with your spouse on a monthly basis? Think about the amount of time that is important to you for you and your partner to spend time away from others. I am a faithful advocate for date night. This allows you and your partner time to spend together, as well as keeping the fire lit in your marriage. When the hustle and bustle of life gets involved, it will become more and more difficult for you and your partner to spend time together. Also think about the amount of time you want to spend with your partner, whether this be daily, weekly, or monthly. Base this off the amount of time that you need to spend with your partner to keep your connection alive. So again, what is your ideal amount of time to spend on a monthly basis with your spouse? Question number 2. Who do you believe should control the money in your marriage? This question is not to focus on who will be the breadwinner or worker in the family. Instead, it is to focus on who will pay the bills or manage the finances. Often when we are single, we create a system that works best for us. When you come together as one, you must create a system that works best for the relationship. Also think about if you would have joint or separate bank accounts, and what will be the rules for these bank accounts when it comes to depositing and withdrawing money. So again, who do you believe should control the money in your marriage? Question number 3. How should different roles be assigned in your marriage? Role responsibility is another important factor in a marriage. Deciding who would do everyday things from taking out the trash to cooking dinner to watching the kids is very important. Assigning these roles and knowing what roles you will play in your marriage is key. So again, how will different roles be assigned in your marriage? Question number 4. What are your own personal strengths and weaknesses? Knowing your own personal strengths and weaknesses is key. Understanding the things that you might need assistance with versus the things that you are strong in handling can be very important in your relationship. It is also important for your partner to know your strengths and weaknesses as they think about ways that they can better support you. So again, what are your own personal strengths and weaknesses? Question number 5. What are your individual goals for your marriage? Most of us have this fairy tale image in our head of what our marriage will be like, whether that be the 2.5 kids and a dog or traveling the world. It is important to think about the realistic goals that you have for not only your marriage, but yourself. Where would you want your marriage to be over the next 5 to 10 years? Also think about the goals that you have for yourself and what you would like to accomplish over that period of time. Determining these goals and making a plan for the future will help you in your relationship as you think about what you need to do to get you there. So again, what are your individual goals for your marriage? Now let's review those questions again. Remember to take 2 hours to answer these questions before moving on to the next section. Now that you've thought about your communication styles and your boundaries around compromise, let's talk about the things that you might be afraid to ask each other. Partners often do not discuss the things that they are bringing into the marriage, such as finances and beliefs. These things are important and can not only shape the direction of the marriage, but also the picture that you have painted for how you ideally want things to be. When you think about the things that you're scared to ask each other, think about these top 5 things that we feel is the best place for you to start with this topic. Question number 1. How much are you individually in debt, if any? Most people do not think about the amount of debt that they are possibly bringing into their marriage. Knowing the amount of debt that you have and how it will affect your marriage is very important. Also think about how you're going to manage this debt and develop a plan for this. Think about if you're going to need your partner's assistance in helping you with this debt. This will take effect if it's going to bring any stress to your relationship, whether that be stopping you from buying your dream car or your family house. So again, how much are you individually in debt, if any? Question number 2, how often do you want to have sex in your marriage? So you might be thinking, is this the part where she tells us to schedule sex? And the answer is no. Sex does not need to be on a timetable. However, it is important to know the amount of sex that you need in your marriage. We often associate sex with love, intimacy, and feeling wanted by our partner. It is important to think about how often you need to have sex in order to feel fulfilled. Do you need it daily, weekly, or monthly? And what role does this play in your marriage? Also think about how you will maintain this need once life gets involved and you're stressed or maybe even tired. So again, how often do you need sex in your marriage? Question number 3, how will religion or spirituality play a role in your marriage? This question is for you to think about the role that religion or spirituality will play in your marriage, not only with your partner, but with your children, if any. Often, religion or spirituality is a deal breaker for any relationship, especially when dealing with children in the way that we want them to be raised. This also becomes a factor when thinking about religious or spiritual activities and how often you participate in these, as well as if you want your partner to be there with you when you're doing these activities. So again, how will religion or spirituality play a role in your marriage? Question number 4, what are your feelings about children? Now let's think about this question in 2 different parts. One being future children and the other being current children. If you are a blended family, think about the role that your partner will play in your children's life. Is it okay for your partner to discipline your children? As well as, do you want your partner to be a role model for your child? If you currently do not have children, think about the amount of children that you would like, if any. It is important to also know if you would like to incorporate children into your lives immediately or wait a while to get to know each other first. So again, what are your feelings about children? Question number 5, what role does your family and friends play in your marriage? We often spend a lot of time with our family or friends when we are single and incorporate them into a big part of our lives. It is important to think about whether we want our partner to play a role in this, whether it be trips or family meals every week. Also think about the role that your family and friends play in your marriage when it comes to conflict or raising your children. How much power or say-so do they have? And how much will you listen to them when they give their opinion? So again, what role does your family or friends play in your marriage? Now let's review those questions again. Remember to take 2 hours to answer these questions before moving on to the next section. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you going through this process with us. These are just 3 things that we feel will be beneficial in helping you in your marriage. Although there are other topics that you can discuss with your partner, communication, boundaries, and things you might be afraid to ask each other are definitely important. As your final assignment, we would like for you to go on a date night with your partner. This can be online or in person, whatever your location permits. During this time, we ask that you have an open and honest conversation with your partner about the answers that you provided in your questionnaires. Remember that communication is one of the key components to any healthy relationship. Now, we understand that that was a lot of information. If you feel you need more time or want to seek further premarital education, I'm available for services and my contact information can be located on the site. At this time, we ask that you complete your homework assignment of date night and then come back to download your certificate of completion. Congratulations, and thank you for choosing WebWed Mobile. I'm Katrina Pointer, and we'll see you at your wedding.